Hey everyone, thank you very much for joining me on my YouTube channel. This is Candice. I want to talk to you all today about who's buying in this real estate market. Okay, I am getting flooded with calls and emails, and number one question everyone is asking me is, well, who the heck can afford to buy in this real estate market? Who's buying? Is anybody buying? I'm reading the news. I'm trying to look at the numbers. What's going on? And this is where I kind of want to talk to what's actually happening out there, share some personal stories of experiences I'm seeing out there, share with you some data and information so you can really kind of get a level ahead of what actually is happening. Because I think what traditionally has been happening in the last couple of years with real estate is we keep getting conflicting reports, right? So one report will read says that housing prices are stabilizing. Another one says they're down 12%. Another report comes out saying that our loan to value ratio is actually much better now than it was, say, even 10 years ago, putting home buyers in a better position for their equity. We don't know what to believe, right? And this is where I have questions from my clients coming to me all the time asking, Candice, is it now the time to buy? Is now the time to buy? Now's the time to buy, right? So it makes it very confusing. So first off, let's cut straight to the chase here, and let's talk about who is actually buying in this market. Okay, I touched upon this in my previous YouTube video, but just kind of to go over it quickly. If you don't have to sell, you're not selling. Okay. My sellers that don't have to make a move, they're not moving. And of course, why would you move and sell in this market when you're seeing home values decline, right? The only reason why you would be selling is because you're actually making a better move or a different move for you in the future. So who's actually selling these days? Let's talk about that. The people that are selling, hate to bring it up, but divorces, right? If you're getting divorced from your partner or your common law partner, your spouse, your wife, your husband, chances are if you have an asset that you share together that both of your names is on title for, then you might need to separate, or you might need to have one of you buy the other one out and then one of you find a different real estate location, right? So that's the number one kind of thing that I'm seeing out there of who actually is selling. The other thing I'm seeing, people are having life changes. I keep bringing this up, but if you are having more children, if you're having children leave the nest, if you're having aging parents move in, this is a big thing I'm seeing too, where people are creating in-law suites in their homes, not just for tenants, but also because they need it for, aging parents. They call it the sandwich nation, right? Where you have kids that you're raising and then parents that you're taking care of. How do we manage all of this? So chances are that might require a lifestyle change. I have helped clients that have bought homes, with parental funds, so they can actually combine sources and own a bigger home. So the parents can have, an in-law suite or a walkout basement, and the other family can be on the top level. And I got to be honest, sometimes this intergenerational mixing works out really great. It's free babysitting down below, and you get to have a great, home and asset that you can then sell later on that's going to appreciate. Okay. So this is really what I'm seeing out there. That's who my sellers are. Now, who are my buyers? Exact same kind of story, right? It's really interesting. And I just want to bring this point up because, at the height of, say, like the pandemic, and then especially early beginning 2022, people just couldn't get enough of real estate, right? Everything people were reading was saying home prices keep going up, keep going up. Make sure you get in there. And I think a lot of people might have got caught up with the FOMO, fear of missing out, and they were just going out there and putting bids on anything, And I was seeing people make bids on property, 40 offers in, 45 offers in, way above what the previous market value sold, or the previous comparable sold for. Nothing that related to it, just an arbitrary number. We couldn't get in any conditions, and I had numerous times where I'd be walking with a client. I'm looking at the home and, just from my eyes, I'm not an inspector by any means, but I can tell there's foundation issues. I can tell there's plumbing issues. There could be electrical issues. I need to bring in somebody to check this. I couldn't get in a condition to save my life. So it was a very scary market in that sense, just because you were buying something and that's it. Luckily, if you were educated about the market and about it, the way you were going about it, and also interest rates were very low at that time, some people made really good progress in that, where they bought a home that they liked, they're holding on to it, and it made sense for the situation because it was also a home that they really wanted. One of the funny flips of that is in this market, buyers are kind of holding back and they're saying, oh, wait, Candice, like, I don't think it's the right time to buy now. I'm waiting for prices to go lower. I'm waiting for prices to go lower. And, sometimes people are hesitant, which I can completely understand when prices are much lower than they were this time last year. So everyone's kind of waiting for things to bottom out that way. So it just goes to show you, again, real estate is not about the numbers. It's about the psychology of it. And this is why you got to be careful, because reading things out there, listening to people talk, it can kind of get you kind of raring and going, and you don't want to make a decision that you're going to regret later on. Okay. So anyone that's buying right now, at least for my clients and experiences, we've got my first time home buyers. They're using Bank of Mom and Dad, right? That's what we call it. You all know what this is. This is, we're seeing the biggest transfer of generational wealth. We have parents who've been working very hard, have a home that they've paid off, or have money in the bank, and they're now using either the equity of their home or taking out some cash funds to gift it to children in order to help their adult children buy something, right? The next thing I'm seeing for home buyers is people that are actually upsizing, or sometimes we like to use the term right sizing. And what this means is that maybe they have a smaller home, again, growing family, they need something bigger. Maybe they did buy the big home, and they're realizing, hey, you know what? This is a lot of costing. I can buy another home. And you know what? It's funny. This is where you want to be able to think about different solutions. And I'm just going to give you something to kind of chew on in the sense of how this opportunity can work. I have a situation with a client bought a very big home. And again, this has to do with how much money they're able to put down and their down payment to make this worthwhile. But regardless, the home they're finding is a little too much space for them. It's just a couple, and they don't have any children, and it's a big home. It's a home that could actually house a good sized family. So they were looking at it, and they called me up and they said, Candice, what do you think we could get for it? We went through the comparables, and then they said, what could we get renting it? And I looked at that and I said, you could probably get $4,000 or $5,000. And they said, well, that's fascinating because we can use that in the equity in the home to buy something a little bit smaller and now have two assets. And, that's something that they were considering. So the way I want you to look and approach this is there are different ways to slice this. Okay. A lot of people kind of read the news and say, oh my God, it's crazy to buy in Toronto. Inflation's nuts. And I get it. But if home ownership is your dream, it doesn't have to be, but if it is your dream, and I'm not saying in all scenarios, but sometimes you want to look at things in a different way. And sometimes that's where it helps to talk with someone like a real estate agent, even a mortgage broker, your bank, even a financial planner, to just kind of give you a different view of things. And it helps change your perspective, because everyone has heard me talk about this. Real estate is not just about the numbers, right? If it was just about the numbers, easy, right? This is really more of attachment to different intangible items, right? Whether the feeling of the home is there, you actually living there and how you're going to enjoy that. If it's an investment property, what else are you going to be doing with it in 10 to 20 years? Do you even want to take care of it as an investment property, right? There's not one size fits all. So those are my main segment of buyers. I do have some investors coming back in. I'm not going to lie. Investors are coming back in because they're looking at the rental rates that are skyrocketing in Toronto, and they're looking at the condo pricing, and they're going, this could be an opportunity. Okay. So this is who I'm kind of seeing come into the market. Now, what I want to discuss a little bit is just sort of an overview of how things are working, because a couple of my clients are getting very frustrated. They're calling me and they're saying, Candice, I saw this property on market. Why the hell is a listing agent pricing it so darn high? I just saw another one that sold that's literally 50, 60, 70, 100K under what they're asking for this. Why is this so expensive? And this is where I have to say, I will be honest and say, I think that as an industry as a whole in real estate, we don't do this well. We don't actually follow or have formulas that actually discuss proper pricing strategy of homes. Now, I read a lot of books. I love books. And I read a lot of books regarding pricing strategy for homes. How do you price homes appropriately? To attract the most number of buyers, but also to attract the most number of qualified buyers. Because something that we're also seeing out there, and I just dealt with this yesterday, is a home was sold conditional. It was a home my clients actually want to see on the buyer side. And I ended up getting a call from the agent saying, guess what? The condition fell through. The other guy can't get financing. Okay. So this is the problem, because just because you capture a whole bunch of eyeballs and you have a whole bunch of people going through and you have 50 showings, well, that's great. You now have a whole bunch of, footprints to clean up in the house. How many of these people can buy? And obviously, with what's going on with inflation, the mortgage rates and interest, the changing ratios in terms of how they're actually evaluating mortgages and appraisals, can you buy? Right. So this is where I'm kind of seeing things get a little bit unsettled. So I always tell clients and everyone out there, do not look at the listing price. I don't care what they list it for. Okay. I care what the market comparables for. So that's where I get a lot of clients that call me and I just say to them, anytime you're interested in a property, I don't care what the price actually is, send it to me. Send it to me. I will send you all the market comparables for that home or that area, whatever makes sense. And you can actually see what it sold for. And that helps to sort of do some of the data analysis. I actually have an assistant that does this separately for me to make sure that I'm not screwing this up, and looks at the percentage points in terms of, are we going up in a certain area or is it going down? So for example, Durham region, it went up crazy and exponentially during 2022, and then it went down. Now it's climbing back up again. So this is what we want to keep an eyeball on. Okay. And then the last thing I kind of want to talk about in terms of who's buying in this market and the mindset around it, you want to be careful of timing the market. Okay. I know a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines and I completely understand this, right? You have to wait for the right time for yourself. If you're thinking about buying, you want to look at the numbers and you want to kind of see, and you want to get the best deal. Of course, you don't want to buy and then find out the home that you bought sold for a lot lower and you feel like you're the chump and you overpaid. I get it. Trust me. But I think the hard thing is to time the market. Okay. There's a saying that says that if you're trying to time the market, or if the news reports that, sales have hit that bottom point or are now starting to stabilize, you've already missed it. Okay. And I'm going to do a very quick example here that I want you guys to follow with me and, follow in this exercise and see if you can time this. Okay. Right now, you'll be seeing my graph, right? And you're starting to see this is home prices going down, okay? Now, at a certain point, as soon as they start going up, I want you, wherever you are, to either say out loud or think in your mind, stop. Okay, here we go. Did you catch it? See it? We're going to try it again. Okay. So what this illustrates is, if you're trying to time the market and, you see home prices going down and you're waiting for them to go back up, I would just be cautious, because by the time they start rebounding and stabilizing that way, everyone could be trying to get into the market. Again, from my experience, there's a lot of buyers on the sidelines. There's a lot of people flush with cash that are waiting. They're either waiting for the right listing because, we don't have great listings on the market right now. A lot of very squeezed inventory due to the fact that sellers aren't putting their property on the market, and housing is already kind of squeezed short. We do already have an affordability issue and a housing issue in Toronto, especially, and in Ontario. We know this. But two, people are waiting for prices to hit that rock bottom. So when I'm counseling with clients, again, no one's going to tell you what to do. No one needs to push you in the market and say, you have to buy. Now's the only time. I don't believe in any of this. Okay. The time is right when you're ready. The one thing that I always want people to look at it with real estate is it isn't just about the actual number that you pay. Okay. So for example, I have a lot of clients that are saying, Candice, I just want to save up for this much of a down payment. Once I have that much and this down payment and I can afford this, we're going. And I say, that's great, but I just want you to watch the numbers, because, for example, while you're saving up this down payment to try and do your 20%, if the home price keeps rising and you get there and then now it's here, well, then now it's another benchmark chase, right? So this is not to say that you should just put down 5% or the lowest amount just to get into the market. That might not be the answer either. Again, I can't answer that for you because I haven't spoken with you, but that's something that you really have to look at: your goals, your financial situation, your future financial situation. There's a lot of questions around this. Okay. And then the next thing you want to think about is the actual idea of having a home that you really like to live in. Okay. So for example, if a listing comes on the market, it's something that you really want and you buy it, and then you find out a couple months down the line, yeah, it actually went down in pricing a little bit, and you're kind of like, shoot, you know what? I could have got it for a little bit less. Sure, but you know what? We don't know if at that time that inventory would have been on market. Okay. We don't know if that house that maybe is perfect for you and your family would have been on market and whether it would have been a time where you could get it. We are seeing bidding wars. Okay. Now, this is not to say that people are overbidding crazy like what was happening in, say, early 2022, but we are seeing people come back in now and seeing multiple offers. It's not as many, it might be two or three. And again, it's not exploding the value of it. It's still market comparable, but it's happening out there. Appointments are starting to get full. Okay. So this just goes to show that this is where people are sort of thinking, this is where mindset's at. Right now, a lot of people still think that we haven't hit that bottom yet. People are starting to think spring. A lot of predictions are for fall. People said that we've already hit the bottom. No one realizes it and it's already going back up. I don't have an answer. I know people are looking at me being like, Candice, what's the answer? I wish I could tell you. I wish I knew. If I had that answer, the amount of money I'd be making. But I think what it leads to believe is that you should really look at what's actually happening out there. Number one, don't stick your head in the sand. Don't be scared about it and say, hey, I don't want to know what's happening. I think I'm just going to buy and wait and then I'll feel it out. Number two, don't rush in FOMO and don't go in and being like, I gotta buy now. Either decision sucks. Okay. This is where you really want to just take a look at what's happening out there. I always say this, talk with a real estate agent, agents like myself. We will talk with you. You don't have to, go with us or buy with us. We'll have some conversations, give you some information. We are consultants. We're educators. We're here to give you that knowledge of what we're seeing out there. Okay. You do want to talk with your mortgage broker, your bank, really get an idea of what's happening with interest rates. We just had an interest rate hike. They're saying that they're not expecting another one for a little bit. However, there still might be two coming up this year. So really find out where that's like, what those payment structure would, or what that payment structure would look like if you did jump into the market. How does that look with your budget? And then the other piece to this that I think a lot of people don't recognize is financial planner. I think financial planners are very important. A lot of them will work with you on your goals and you don't have to pay them a fee for it. Banks have them, credit unions have them. They're there for your education, and you can talk with a financial planner and say, these are my goals. This is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think? And they'll give you their opinion, and at the end of the day, this is what I tell everybody. It's all speculative. Okay. Anyone you speak with is going to tell you what they see or how they see it from their point of view. I try and educate my clients on how I see things and give them the data to back it up, right? This is what's happening now. Doesn't mean this is what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay. This is what's happening now. So this is where you want to look at things and make sure that you're making an informed decision for yourself. And that decision just doesn't involve, putting down a certain sum of money and what that value is going to be, so my mortgage is this much and that's all I got to consider. No, it's going to be the home, the potential home appreciation for the future, the fact of where you're living, what's the suitability of it? If you are an investor, where are you renting it? Are you going to be able to continue to maintain it? If you get a property manager, how much is that going to cost? What's the capital gains if I want to sell it after it's not my primary residence? Big questions, right? So this is where you want to get your information on that. So the last thought I want to leave everybody with in terms of who's buying out there, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters who's buying out there. It just matters if you want to buy. Okay. If home ownership is a goal of yours and it's something that you really want to achieve, it can happen. Now, granted, I'm not saying you're going to get everything and every situation is a little bit different, but if that's what you'd like, it's out there for you. Again, you do really want to run the numbers. You do really want to look at your situation. You don't want to be house poor. You want to make sure that anything you buy, particularly in real estate, is going to be an asset and it's going to be something that serves you now and in future. You want to make a smart and informed decision, and that starts with education. So I say keep reading, keep educating yourselves out there, but just recognize that everything that's being reported all has its own spin. Okay, so this is where you want to look at multiple, sources and, put things together and then speak with your realtor to make sure that you're getting a full and accurate picture of what's happening out there. Okay. Well, I do hope that this has been helpful. If anyone has any questions or wants to talk about real estate, I'm always here. Otherwise, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. And thank you so much for watching this video. Take care.